you know, normally when I make my content, I try to talk about a topic as little as what I would consider appropriate. Um, thank you for the sub, my man. I'll cue it up for later. But I like to talk about a topic as little as, you know, I feel is like appropriate or necessary is probably a good word. And so, like, I was done with this after, after like the first two videos. The first video being like running over the situation of front of me is disconnecting. The second, Ethan's response. The third one I did was Trisha's like response to Ethan. I was like, this feels like I'm beating a dead horse, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna put it up. Because, you know, I don't like to oversaturate and just like talk about shit constantly. I feel like there's a lot of YouTube creators who just like make content for the sake of making content. I try to make content that I feel like is like worthy of being made on my standards, as low as that might be. Then, you know, so I made those three though. Then I saw the thing where Trisha was like, oh, I might be, like, she seemed like she was teasing her way back in, and I was like, you know, fuck it, I'll talk about it. And then I was like, okay, that's the last one, though, you know? And then I have a bunch of people in my DMs and on my comments, and they're like, you have to look at the new one from Trisha. And I was like, God damn it. I guess we gotta look at the new one from Trisha. So the title is Trigger Warning, SA, we know what that means. Monetization is off for this one, serious topics. So, like, this, to me, we have to understand that, like, if any other person had made a title like that, I would have been a lot more serious about it, but this is Trisha Paytas. And so, to me, first and foremost, we look at this here. Monetization is off. Really he screamed in my face, because one of the criticisms of Trisha's videos, and one of the criticisms Ethan had, was that she made, like, a video with, like, 10 ad rolls in the middle of it. You know, which screams, hey, this is like I'm generating drama for money. Maybe it was active or passively. Maybe it was a subconscious thing. I don't really know. But it made it come off as a little bit disingenuous. And so this is a video where, to me, it seems like she's had enough time to watch everything like 4 times obsessively, because she seems like the kind of person that would do that, and decided that she was going to make a video that made sure to encompass as many different woke points as possible. So we have monetizations off, and then we have SA. You know, you guys know what that's sexual assault. So I don't know. This is gonna be something. So let's get into this whole thing with Trisha. And I just want to like talk about something real quick. I know that Trisha has like mental health issues, but I want to make sure you guys understand that that's not an excuse for her bad behavior. One of the most person-centric things you can do, one of the least ableist things you could do, is you can make sure you understand that people with mental disorders or mental disabilities or incapabilities are still people first. You use person-first language generally. They're people first. And people with disabilities can be bad people. Trisha is an example of that, right? You can be a bad person just because you have something going on. Now, here's my thing. If Trisha acted the horrible way that she acts to Ethan on stream, due to whatever mental condition she may have, and then afterwards self-reflects and goes, wow, that was really shitty of me, I'm really sorry, I could be like, that makes sense to me. I could say like, okay, fair enough. You know what I mean? At least when she's out of whatever funk she's in, she goes, oh wow, I'm really sorry. Then I would be like, okay, that would be a reasonable reaction. But that's not what she does. She made up an apology that was really just slandering Ethan again. She's really more worried about people perceiving her as a good or a bad person. And I think that this video here was made because people aren't perceiving her as a good person. So she had her meltdown, then she tried to justify it. Then she like apologized, then she fought back, and then she's been trying every avenue to get people to get on her side, but they're not working. So now she's just going to the extreme of like sexual assault. Let's get back on track. Let's just get this going.
So today I want to talk about something.
This is a little low. I'm going to turn myself down a little bit. So if you're watching a YouTube video, turn it up.
What I say or how I express myself, all the comments, this is so manipulative. Trisha's manipulative. I mean, it just is what it is. And like, I'm accepting of that now. So, I'm just accepting of it. But I really do need to say this because I haven't said it. I put up with Ethan purposely trying to trigger me on multiple occasions.
We need to keep in mind of what her perception of what intentional triggering means, because from what I see, hold on one second. Ooh, there we go. Because from what I've seen, what she thinks is intentional triggering is him like joking around. Like, remember the first time that there was a trigger was when he was like, "Oh, you're acting crazy," and he was like joking around very clearly, and she didn't like that. That's triggering to her when somebody is like joking around and she just doesn't like the words. Now that doesn't mean that Ethan should keep doing it, but that doesn't mean that it's an intentional trigger, right? And so like Ethan stopped doing that. She could have just been like, "Yeah, that makes me uncomfortable." Remember, she escalated and then like exposed him for having like a drug problem because he has depression, and basically bringing all of his private business into the public light, which is very much of an intrusion. So
He likes having that thumbnail of me leaving, right? That's the meme. Even up until the last one, I said I don't want to walk off. I don't want to end the show.
If that's triggering to you, if her walking off the show is triggering, like we're seeing what triggering is to her, or intentional triggering is to her, is very childish. It's very childish. It's very much a nothing. All right. Nobody's looking at and being like, yeah, you know what, Trisha is bad. Like, nobody's looking at her walking away on a thumbnail being like, oh, that's a bad person. Like, we just think you're a bad person because of the reason you walked away.
Because in the meme is you sitting alone and I'm walked off. You see Trisha leaving, whatever. And even up until the last one, they didn't cut after we ended the show. They cut seconds after when I walked.
Yeah, like 3 seconds later. Like it's a profound difference. If this is something that she's upset about, like think about this from your perspective. Is this something that would really be like a big deal to you? No. There's no substance to her complaints. But this to her is intentional triggering. And the word triggering has lost all its value due to Trisha Paytas, but triggering is supposed to basically mean like a PTSD trigger. Now we're joking about the word. So you see how much we've diminished the word triggering due to people like Trisha Paytas.
Walked off, which is not what I wanted, but
triggering is when like a military personnel hears like a loud noise and they have like a PTSD attack, or a sexual assault survivor gets cornered in some capacity, whether it's intentional or not, and like has like a trigger, like a meltdown. Those are like that's what triggers are supposed to be reserved for people who have faced very serious things, not for people who get triggered over walking off a set. Like, oh, I'm very triggered over the meme of me walking off the set. You know what I'm saying?
I always put up with the triggers, and I allowed myself to be triggered. And this is beyond, this is not walking on eggshells. It's like, oh, I say one wrong thing. No, this is time.
No, it is.
Like, don't share the private messages from episode 1, where he shared messages I sent to him.
I'm pretty sure she started with, the problem with that was like she started talking about something, and she was intentionally misrepresenting it, and so like at that point you kind of have to defend yourself by showing some messages, and that's why that happened. And we need to make sure we keep that in context, because she's making sure that she's distorting what actually happened to try to make her seem like she's in the right.
Where he shared Moses' private messages, and we asked him on the show not to. Like, there's just not respecting boundaries, and as like I don't know boundaries well, and I try to set them as best as I can, but there was a boundary, and like it's him constantly saying no, and pushing. And I allowed it because I thought...
So far, we're like 2 minutes into the video, and nothing she says has any weight to it whatsoever.
That was, the entertainment of the show. Ethan has since expressed his uncomfortability with stuff we said about Jewish people.
Yeah, she fetishizes Jewish people. She's constantly saying like, "Oh, this is Jewy" to him. She makes fun of his Tourette's constantly in like really intrusive personal ways, and she constantly harasses him about doing OnlyFans. And if we're gonna play this woke fucking game, that's sexual harassment. If somebody she keeps talking to him about like showering with him. My understanding is she tweeted a picture of her vagina at him. These are uncomfortable. These are violations at the very least. And then she's going to be the one that's like, well, he did inappropriate things because he showed private messages when I lied about those private messages. Like, Trisha, we could sit here and somebody could probably put together a video framing Trisha as like some form of a predator. And I'm not saying that we should do that. Maybe she is some kind of like a mental predator. I don't really know. But like very clearly, she's very inappropriate. She doesn't understand boundaries, which is honestly why she does things like OnlyFans with her sister and her mom recording it in the mud,
about
That would be, yeah, that's literally the way that sexual harassment is defined in the workplace.
threats. And I respect that. If I truly
I don't
did
think you
not
understand what the
know.
word respect
Obviously,
means.
the Jewish thing, he eventually told me one episode, like, you can't keep calling me cheap or something.
Okay, but you called him Jewy in that message about money. So like even that was after, I believe, that episode where he tried to educate you and you didn't listen. So like, what's your point?
Because it's offensive to put, and I stopped.
No, you
Because
didn't.
there.
You
I think a
didn't.
lot of the
It's
show
just
was
a
banter
lie.
back and forth, and I think even myself, I got confused what was banter back and forth, and what was just straight up.
I think the problem here is that banter to Trisha is just being outright mean and hurtful. That's what banter is, and banter to everybody else is just being a little bit playful. Yeah.
Triggering me by bringing up.
There's a lack
my
of
sexual
respect
assault,
involved when it comes to
bring up
Trisha, which is
my
why
past
she really
as
can't be
a
playful.
prostitute and stuff like that. When I so clearly said, bring up what was banter back and forth, and what was just straight up triggering me by bringing up my sexual assault.
She brought it up. She like randomly talked about how she had like a candle put in her or something, and Ethan was like, that's like sexual assault. Like, that's really bad. Ethan was the one that had enlightened her on that, and now she's blaming him for triggering her sexual assault. Do you see how like absolutely disgusting Trisha is? It's really bad. This is really bad.
My past as a prostitute and stuff like that. When I so clearly said I don't want to talk about it.
She was the one joking about it. She was the one who brought it up, and Ethan was the one that told her to like chill a little bit and tried to let her know that like that was a violation. She was violated, and now she's blaming Ethan for it. Do you not see how disgusting this woman is? This is pathetic.
The first things that come to mind obviously are talking to my mom about my sexual assault on a trip from Disneyland. A trip that my mom, sister, and Moses had planned for my birthday, and then we did invite Ethan and Gila to come willingly, graciously, because I enjoyed spending time with them.
Yes, thank you for telling us how gracious it was for you to invite Ethan to Disney. You realize she called herself gracious? That's just the most presumptuous shit I've ever. Oh, yes, I invited him to go to Disney with us very graciously. Okay. It's very self-absorbed. Like, great. It's really gracious. Could you imagine? Like, just imagine I asked a friend out to dinner. Like, hey, you want to go out to dinner? Oh, this is me graciously asking you. You're a fucking loser. And I compare the two because they're rich. So Disney is like a $20 dinner at Applebee's. You know what I mean?
They're
for them.
Family, Moses family, all that stuff.
Yes, they are all family. So you invited your family to Disney. Wow, so gracious of you.
And graciously and wanting to.
And I'm also graciously and wanting to. Very nice. I'm assuming like who did they pay for themselves? Like, hey, you want to come out? Like what? The graciousness would be like if you paid for everything, I guess. But you're,
on the Disneyland trip, we vlogged for frenemies again, graciously and wanting to. Moses was the camera guy for the vlog, and
okay,
it was great until it wasn't great. So up until the bus, he asked my mom what she thought about my sexual assault regarding this thing that I become like hearted to and kind of numb to, because for me, I always thought there was power in talking about being assaulted as a prostitute and stuff like that. I always thought there was power in that because I thought that can't hurt me anymore because I'm talking about it. No one can bring that skeleton up because I'm openly talking.
So I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. Here's what I do know. I know that she joked about it. Ethan was the one that brought it up as like a problem, and she didn't really acknowledge it. So now I don't know exactly why he was talking to her about it, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt as it was something that it was more of a concern. So even if it was crossing a boundary, Ethan wasn't like, you remember when your daughter got raped? No. It was probably like, hey, like, how do you feel about this very clearly open thing? This open thing that was talked about that Trisha brought up on the podcast. You understand what I'm saying? There's like no reason not to give Ethan the benefit of the doubt on this situation.
Talking about it, as I do with most things when I overshare. I just think no one can bring it up against me if I bring it up first. So I think that's, anyways, taking accountability, whatever.
You're not taking. You've never taken any accountability.
And then he brought it up again on the frenemies. But after he said the thing on the bus, I got really sick. I can't remember if they showed it in the Disneyland vlog, but I laid down on the bus for a good half hour up until we got to their house. I was so nauseous and so sick because my mother and we had a strain in our relationship when I was young.
you probably ate something bad and then you're having a little bit of heat stroke or something, or maybe the sun was hitting your fake tits in a way that made you like they boiled in your breasts and then maybe they leaked into your fucking brain or something. So you're getting sick from that. Because I couldn't imagine.
Younger, around that time, 17 to 19, we didn't talk a whole lot. We did, but obviously she didn't know the extent of stuff because I would always ask her for money. I would ask her friends for money back home, like.
Okay.
And my dad and I definitely didn't. So to talk about that time in my life with my parents it's not something that happens. When he asked her about it, it was something that he's like, well, you talk about it on the show, you talk about it in front of me, she watches frenemies, but my mom fast forwards that stuff. She doesn't. It's something that like I feel like everyone has to work through, but because like I've just started treatment and therapy in 2019, like consistently, like it's
so one thing, that's a long time. That's 2 years. And I'm not saying you need to deal with your shit in 2 years, but you should be able to understand your emotions by that point. The only way that therapy wouldn't work to a pretty reasonable extent of like allowing you to have more control over yourself. You're not going to get through it. I'm not saying you should be cured in 2 years, but it's if you're actually not being honest with your therapist. I would guarantee you that Trisha shopped around, like we said before, for a therapist to confirm whatever delusion that she has about herself rather than trying to get her to understand what her true delusion is. And she's just telling the therapist what she wants to tell the therapist and what she wants to hear, and that there's probably absolutely no personal growth. It's probably more of feeding into whatever delusion that she has. So that's probably why you still have hangups on a lot of your issues, or you just have a really shitty therapist. I mean, it's one of those two things. You should probably try to get your money back, or the person who's your therapist should probably lose their license or something.
It's not something that's even been brought up to work through with like my family, and it's not even something that I'm comfortable with yet. Another thing that comes to mind is I talked about knowing Robin Williams, and this one really affected me. I think this is when I started to like realize like I can't keep getting triggered for entertainment purposes. Like,
yeah, this is a good point. Someone's like, notice how she doesn't wear makeup during the apology videos to make it so she looks like she's going through so much and she can't handle putting makeup on. Yeah, that's true. That's actually that's almost guaranteed intentional. And I know that I'm not giving her the benefit of the doubt, but it's pretty clear when the only videos that she doesn't put makeup on are for these videos. So, and there's no way that they're ad-libbed. She probably has notes on the side or something going on.
I did go along with it, right? Like, obviously, I get triggered, Dr. Drew. I get triggered, Dr. Drew. And again, this isn't...
That's a good point. Dr. Drew is not a real doctor. Maybe he is, but like he's terrible. He's a terrible like therapist. So if that's the standard we're setting for therapists, like then yeah, she definitely is a shitty therapist. I'm just being honest, because when I watched the first Dr. Drew episode with her and Ethan, it was very much from my perspective was the hashing it out was Ethan paid Dr. Drew to make her look as good as possible. So, just saying.
Walking on eggshells. This is asking like, hey, like, can we like stop talking about things? Now, I have been in the wrong so many times on frenemies.
I feel like you're just saying that as a way to try to appeal to people. Like, yeah, oh, she's acknowledging it. When were you wrong? When were you wrong, Trisha? What areas were you wrong on? Because so far you've defended every single time people have that you've been wrong. So when are you wrong?
Lashing
Explain.
out people names,
That's it?
I've said this.
That's every scenario that you've brought up and was from you doing those things.
To this day, it hurts my heart that I acted that way. That I allowed myself to get to that level. Those were lows that I was like, okay, I need to seek. I'm having therapy, but now I need to seek another level, which is like medication. Like, it always propelled me to like do more work on myself, and this included like this.
You're supposed to be on medication for like years, and you constantly talk about how you come off your meds, you go back on your meds. You can see the difference in the way that you act on every episode of Frenemies.
I need to go more into stuff that doesn't make me comfortable when talking to my therapist, because it kind of like plays over a lot. We talk about childhood, right? That's my big one. But then like my early adult life, 17 to like 20, that was a lot of stuff that I haven't talked about. But now, because I'm so happy, with Moses and my family and where we're at, like everything feels right. Like I kind of...
Now that you're so happy, you're on a self-destructive rampage to hurt everybody that is connected to Moses, is what it seems like. Like, is that the motive? Is that like she's just trying to disconnect Moses from her family or something? Probably, maybe it is actually. I was gonna say probably not, but we never know with Trisha. Or do you just have like self-destructive tendencies? I don't really understand.
don't want to go back into.
You know, it's crazy. This whole thing could have been over if she's like, yeah, you know what, I'm really sorry. She could have her meltdowns, and then afterwards she could like self-reflect and go, sorry guys, like whatever mental issue I have makes me like kind of lose myself in the moment sometimes. But upon reflection, I'm being too much. She never does that. She doubles down.
There, but because we went back into there on frenemies and it was pushed, I just wasn't ready.
Yeah, she has black and pink frenemies nails. That's the color of the show.
The Robin Williams
subliminal messaging,
for
guys.
a number of reasons. I think it's super.
What the fuck is this Robin Williams thing? So stop talking about it. Like, I honestly get very uncomfortable when you bring up Robin Williams, who had like very serious issues and took his own life, because I feel like you're trying to piggyback that to get sympathy to yourself. Like, how well did you know Robin Williams? Were you his like love affair? Like, what the fuck are you bringing up Robin Williams for? Like, let the man like rest in peace. Like, what he's turning over in his grave right now with you bringing him up.
Disrespectful to go into any detail.
Somebody's saying that this started because Trisha is upset that Hila's pregnant because she can't have her own kids. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. She's very petty
about that, and you know, maybe I shouldn't have said that I even knew him, but. It really brought me back to a place that I didn't want to be. Not even in those particular instances with that person, but just that time in my life. When we were on the bus, you know, I should have said something. The bus was the turning point for me. You know, besides anything, like, you know, just not feeling a part of something, right? Like, whatever. Towards the end, Ethan was just like screaming at people, and a lot of people think that's funny, and, you know, a lot of people, and I'm not dictating what's funny, what's not, but for me, the last girl he's like screaming at, it was a girl with like green hair, and he's like, green hair. The girl was not having it. She was on her way to work, and she literally said something like, this is all you guys have to do is just, you know, yell at me, scream at me, whatever, she said, talk to me. And he kept going, and she was clearly just trying not to engage, trying to be like, really, like, she was a female alone by herself in Hollywood, on Hollywood Boulevard, like walking towards Hollywood Boulevard.
Well, here we go. Ethan was sexually harassing that girl. I didn't watch it, and Ethan might have been being like inappropriate and like over showy for the segment. But like now she's spinning a narrative that like Ethan was predatorizing this girl. Like, chill the fuck out. Chill out. And if she was uncomfortable, I was like, hey Ethan, I think she's uncomfortable. It's like, stop the segment. I mean, like, instead it's like, oh guys, hey, I mean, this happened. This blowout started a week ago. I remember I rewatched that episode though, and I noticed that girl in the green hair was a little uncomfortable.
Sorry, I don't want to cut.
She's getting so choked up over this girl with the green hair potentially getting raped by Ethan. That's the narrative that she's trying to push right now. So, you know, I really feel for you there, Trisha, with you weaponizing sexual assault, which is what you do in the beginning of this title here, because that's what the whole thing's going on.
I don't like cuts in videos, but sorry, it's a little burpy. You know, and he did that to a lot of people, and a lot of people, you know, thought it was funny. But this particular girl, I just remember being like, I looked at him in such a different light, and so many people are gonna be like, that's, you know, and you know what, I should have brought all this up, you know, the same way I wish he would have brought up that, like, you know, like talking about his Tourette's or whatever really affected him. Like, I really wish when he mentioned
okay, I feel like he has.
I really just did stop, because I was like, oh, okay, like this is, you know what I mean? There was, I think, and the reason we'll never go back to doing frenemies is now it's become too like,
well, you're a psychopath fuck. That's why frenemies isn't going to go on again. And at this point, I think that like Ethan has moved himself on from everything going on. So he shouldn't go back. But anyway, I found the point. Let's watch this. I found the point with the green hair girl. Let's see what he's talking about.
Okay, this is only in Hollywood. Coming up.
He's been doing this the entire time.
On the left here, you got green hair. A woman with green hair, black shirt. She's got big black boots. Only in Hollywood, guys.
This is Trisha right here clapping for the situation.
Her mask flew off there. Take a look on the left there. Hell no! Hell no! This is like, this is only in Hollywood, folks. We got green hair. She's heckling back. This is exciting. Coming up on the left here.
Okay, so like Okay, she was uncomfortable, but like she was fine. I'm like, listen, that green hair girl is me, energy wise, like totally on board with like the fuck off. You know, probably doesn't even know who Ethan is. Fair enough, but like that wasn't a predatory situation. That was just like annoying. Like, I mean, come on.
Was like no boundaries.
She's laughing at him. Yeah, she might have just been laughing out of like fuck off laughing, you know. But
say what we want, and I guess that's like part of the show. And now it's like, oh well, she talked about my Tourette's, and I don't like that, and made Jewish jokes, and I don't like that, and it's like
they're just Jewish jokes. I was just being anti-Semitic and ableist by making fun of his Tourette's. Like, it's not a big deal. You literally tried to draw a comparison between Ethan sexually assaulting a girl walking alone on Hollywood Boulevard because he was doing like a bit on a tour bus and he was overexcited, and like now you're gonna downplay when you're anti-Semitic and ableist. Like, I just don't understand. Also, let's just not forget the fact that Trisha consistently sexually harasses Ethan every time she talks about OnlyFans and trying to get him to do it with her and whatnot.
Stuff that was like I've like just always done, and it was never in malicious intent or whatever. And same thing with this. Like I maybe
just so you guys know, I'm going to put the segment at the end of this video where Trisha just does a bunch of horrible, malicious things to Ethan on the show. So yeah. Stay tuned, folks.
Been more clear, but to me, that what I was surprised it was even left in, because I was like, that's clearly something that's like not okay. And I'm saying all this now because I didn't. I was like scared it would end. I was scared that it would be called walking on eggshells. I was scared that, you could no longer joke with Trish. You know what I mean? Like, I think I've always been, in every setting, I've always been just overtly open about prostitution and sex work that I've done. And
yes, you're too open about it. That's why you show people your asshole and you tweeted a pussy pic at fucking Ethan. That's inappropriate as fuck. Like, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean that he wants to see it. And he said multiple times he's not attracted to her. Now, it's very clear from when I watched H3H3 and like with her, she's in love with him in some really creepy, weird way. It's really weird. And he constantly says like, no, thank you. I'm very happy with Hila. And she constantly pushes and pushes and pushes and tries to get him to do things that are far beyond his levels of comfort. And like, again, if we wanted to sit here and do it, we could be like, this is coercion. You know, she's trying to coerce him into doing like OnlyFans with him. She's being very sexually inappropriate with Ethan constantly, and there's far more ground for that than what she's talking about. And yet you don't see Ethan going like, yeah, she would constantly like sexually harass me with like OnlyFans and made me very uncomfortable. So like, really, the only reason that she's saying these things is because like people aren't responding with the same energy as her and like the same pettiness.
Assaults. And I made light about it because it gave me the sort of, like, it doesn't affect me. It's almost like it's not me, right? It's like not who, I don't know. In no way. So it's like, it's fine.
Here we go. We have a nice compilation video.
A, do I find you attractive or want to have sex with you? Like, I just want to make that very, very clear. Like.
How do you rate me on a scale of 1 to 10? A scale of attraction?
10.
No, you don't.
1,000%.
I mean, he did ask for that because she, so.
You're 100% my type. I can't say that in front of you. I know you're my type, but I can't say,
So
you're my type.
Would you make a move on me?
Yes.
So you think I'm a 10?
Wait, this is on the episode where she constantly said she was upset because he would make fun of her weight.
Yeah. 1,000%.
What about me is a 10? I'd like to know.
Everything. Your face, your body, your voice.
I have a tiny penis. Is that a
I
problem?
love that. That makes it even hotter. I do love tiny penises.
Right in front of Hila, too. This is kind of fucked up. This is her shooting her shot. She thinks that this is her moment of glory.
I bet yours is probably 5 inches, and that's my favorite.
Smaller.
Smaller than 5? I don't think
I probably couldn't even get it in.
You're such a liar.
You like fat guys?
No. I don't, yeah, I've been with fat guys. I like a little extra.
I out mukbanged you for the record.
That was impressive. I'm actually.
I mukbanged the fuck out of it. Or I don't. I found her wrong.
I knew it.
I don't want to.
This is so cute. Lahai, what should we do?
Just wrap it up.
Okay. We're like a throuple now, I feel.
No,
This is what it feels like. We're all getting along. I'm like, is this a throuple? You told me about your house. No. Can I come to your house?
It's not that. It's not like that.
I want to come. Where is it? Close to here? Is it close by? 30-minute drive. Can I come? I can't come to your house? So it is like a throuple.
You're really pushy about going to their house.
It's not a throuple. It's definitely not a
I
throuple.
think of it like parents, but now I think of it like throuple. But I feel like this because me and Eli are getting along good.
Please don't think of it as a throuple.
It's like a little date right now. You look great. Have
Oh,
you lost? How
thank
much
you
weight
so
have you
much.
lost?
Oh my God.
Oh.
I know you have for sure. I can notice right away. Being
So-
in a room like this with you
It's
guys, like with no
ridiculous.
windows, is so like intimate. I don't know what it is. I get really like endorphins rush to my head.
Are you turned on currently?
I just feel like kind of high. I don't
Okay,
know.
good.
It's kind of weird. If I'm like
Fantastic.
zoning for a minute, it's like wow.
I don't have OnlyFans, okay? You make like $10.
You could. Three-way.
It's not in our.
Could you imagine just our sex
my
tape? How
God.
super big?
Dude, that would fucking.
No.
I would.
You're in it.
No, I'm not.
That was like the best episode ever. I left just wet.
Oh, wait,
Oh
what?
my
Like, I
God.
just wanna fuck.
This is really bad.
Actually wet?
Kind of.
Oh no. Can I smell anything?
What? No, I
Oh
do.
my
She's
God.
more than OnlyFans. That dried up my pussy.
Okay, well let's see if we can get it back. If we can moisten it back up.
Oh.
Ben-
Take
Ben-
that soundbite from me, please.
In her defense, he's encouraging it a little bit in this. Or rather, like, his sarcasm is probably not hitting for her. She probably doesn't understand it, but...
Is it all?
Ah, you fucked it up.
Fired. Can I be the H now?
Can I be the H now?
Yeah. Okay. So what are we talking about?
Can you see your penis over your belly in the shower?
Yeah.
No, we're not
Yes.
gonna.
Yes, I can.
And
I mean-
how big is it? You never look at my eyes ever.
And you're staring me deep in my eyes.
Oh no, I'm looking away. Well, I saw Trisha naked today. It was horrific. No offense. Okay,
Yeah, that's funny.
let's talk about
OnlyFans? Our collab?
bro.
OnlyFans.
I wouldn't do that for $1 billion fucking dollars.
Like a showering video? You wouldn't just shower with me, like take a shower. Naked in the shower, just like doing a shower, like
Why
washing
do you
our hair.
Why do you think anyone would pay for that?
They would. You
That-
wouldn't do it.
Not even.
Comedy, aren't you? And a third item. I didn't know we're having a threesome.
Third item you'll both enjoy.
Oh, they have a couples one where it kind of like stimulates him and like a cock ring that vibrates. It stimulates both of you at the same time.
Mm.
We know that one.
That one is probably appropriate given the context. It's still weird.
I mean, not you and me together, but
Stop! Don't. You can't go there. That's like one of the ground rules of the show.
we should do an OnlyFans so we can promote Adam and Eve on there. Then at the end say get H3 50% off.
Disgusting. My ass is fat, James Charles, this week.
I think you've never looked better, to be honest. Like you looked so good. Like I didn't want to
Really?
be like over the top when I came in because like I have my boyfriend here, but I was like, whoa.
You think that I'm attractive like this?
Yeah. Do you think I'm hot?
No.
No.
That's true.
Oh!
Fake,
I'm hooked up.
fake. Do you want
Oh
to have
my
sex with me?
Oh.
Wow,
My
really
God.
is just all about how much. No.
That is true.
That's such a lie. Like we know that's a lie. Like whatever.
No, I definitely don't want to fuck you.
Like everybody wants to like be me or be in me. Always.
And you don't.
I think that's the delusion of Trisha Paytas is like is that she really thinks that anybody either wants to be her or be in her. And like honestly, from a man's perspective, as like kind of a gross guy, like I'm gonna be honest with you, and I know there's a lot of ladies who've been watching these Ethan and Trisha video rundowns that I have, and I'm sorry, but as a disgusting man myself, like I understand why most men would fuck Trisha. She's passable enough to fuck as like an object and be like, "Gup, I got my nut in, like I got my my notch in my belt." Of course, though, as I'm getting older, and more intelligent, I would never touch that with anything. Not even like a lead pipe, because I think that the demon heat and STDs from her cooter would probably destroy it.
Trust me when I say I have no desire to fuck you or be
Yeah,
you.
I know you're lying.
Hmm.
You look so.
She's the frat guy, but she's a girl, so she kind of gets away with it. So she's like the guy that's like, oh, you want to fuck, you want to fuck, you want to fuck you, and try to just kind of break you down until you're like, all right, fine.
Pretty right now. It's insane.
Okay.
So here, you want to do this? Are you smart guy?
Okay, muscles. What the hell?
Really?
Yeah, that's
Is that
crazy.
impressive?
Oh my god.
Really? You're impressed?
You work out or no?
No.
Wow, low-key impressed with you. Oh, it's the you're on top. Because you have more weight to hold yourself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Try it now that I'm not.
Yeah, that's good though. That's really good.
All right, don't touch me.
That's
anymore.
insane.
Freak. I have positive feelings for you. I
You
mean,
have feelings for me?
not
Yeah.
like romantic, like
Wow.
friendship.
Can we
I'm
put it
gonna
on
mukbang the
OnlyFans?
shit out of you.
Oh my god.
Uh.
Can we do a naked mukbang for OnlyFans after?
That is like the most unattractive thing I can imagine.
Pantless.
Why do
too.
people pay, why would people pay to see that?
They want to see the
People- you
peen.
think-
You made this?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's like a date. You cooked dinner
It's
for
not.
me? Wow, I feel so special. I imagine yours to look like that.
Yeah, I got a fat one. No, I don't.
I want to eat off his pickle.
Ew, why?
Honestly, I love tasting people's like spit, to be honest.
Ew, I can't believe you
I
ate
can't even watch the screen right now.
the fucking my pickled shit.
Well, that's amazing.
Goat yoga.
Couples edition. It's like a romantic date.
No, it wasn't romantic.
But I'm very excited. You planned this. This is the most any man has done for me. I'm like gonna cry. So
Cool.
romantic.
What the fuck is this? Well, we're not in love. Let's make that very clear too.
People think we are. People think you're kind of into me.
People don't think that.
They definitely do. I want him and Trisha together. Ethan likes Trisha. Ethan likes
Amy's
Trisha.
fine.
Ethan likes Trisha.
3 likes. What, do you think that I like you? Do you
Yeah.
think, like sexually?
No, I think you have like a crush on me.
You really do? Do you
Kind
really?
of, yeah.
Trisha, I mean, with peace and love, I really would rather put my dick in a socket.
That's what most guys.
Sorry. Oh, that one kind of got me. I'd rather put my dick in a socket. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Say
Well, I'm getting the feeling that you maybe want to fuck me.
no, no. But that's the only communication I get from you all week is the thing with.
You want me to communicate? I don't know what you want from me. You want me to communicate? You don't want me to communicate.
Maybe
You text me too much. You don't text me enough. What am I? I'm not your boyfriend or your fiance. I don't have to deal with this shit. I would rather, do you understand what I'm saying? You've seen these meat grinders where they put in steak and it comes out ground beef? I would rather put my dick in a meat grinder than fuck you. And crank it myself. I would
Oh
literally
my God.
drag my dick through a field of rust and glass.
Yeah. So there's a little perspective on what I've been saying.
Funny, and it becomes like nothing
Unfortunately, we have to go back to this fucking horrible mess.
at a certain point. Where I've talked about a guy that like would shoot a gun at my head for like sexual pleasure and stuff like that. Like that was such a scary time, but I look at it as a story of like another person's life. You know what I mean? It's just a funny story, and it's not funny. It's not funny, and I think I have to. This is like my first step in like saying it's not okay to my.
You know, like it's really unfortunate the position we're put in where like none of us care about her trauma, because it sounds like there's a lot of serious trauma there, and I don't want to invalidate that, but the fact that she's weaponizing sexual assault in the literal title here makes us tune out. And I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I don't care because of this, because I think that people who weaponize sexual assault are bad people, and it makes me very numb to their issues.
Self to like joke about these things and like not letting other people, you know, from talking about sexual assault with my mom, that was the first thing, and then being pushed to talk about the Robin Williams thing. When I said so many times like I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it, I'm not comfortable. In the first episode with Mo, like there were certain things that were like, don't leave this in, because they were so personal and so private, and they're out there, and now people will just use that and throw it in my face, even though me and Moses have worked past it. You know, it's
What the fuck does Robin Williams have to do with Moses?
And I'm not hiding from it. I will talk about, you know, I will talk about it now. It's just something I didn't want out there. And then up until like the last episode, like everyone was like, it's clear Trisha was in a bad mood, but it was a lot of things, from sexualizing my skincare product. Like, you know, I was just like that. I was like, you know, because it's not just my line. I'm okay with sexualizing me or my stuff. And let me just say, I'm not that okay with sexualizing my stuff anymore. The more I like really delve into me and who I am and what I've been, I don't want to sexualize that anymore. All my music videos of recently have been like covered up. I don't like
Her one music. I'm so confused. Like, Trisha historically sexualizes the fuck out of herself. In fact, my theory is the reason that she fakes that she has like gender dysphoria and that she's trans is because she sexualizes herself so much on a day-to-day basis, and she associates that over-sexualization with femininity, that there's almost some kind of dysphoria associated with that femininity or her perspective or perception of what femininity is, to a point where she says that she's a boy, right? And I'm not invalidating trans people, because that trans people exist. There's a lot of complication there. I'm specifically invalidating Trisha. Okay, I want you to understand that. As much of a conservative-ish kind of a guy, I'm not that conservative, but like, you get what I'm saying. I'm a blunt guy. I validate trans people. I'm just a little ignorant. But this is we have had the insight into her life for 15 years or something. We can tell. All right, this isn't like a tough call to make. You know.
I used to like being sexualized because it meant like attention and something like edgy, and oh, that's what, all the girls that are sexualized get the attention and they get desire, and it's like that was always my MO on social media, and I just don't I don't want that anymore. Like I really don't. If you guys watch my channel now, whatever, for years I go out looking as disgusting as possible. Like I kind of don't.
I don't think that's intentional, Trisha. I think that you are just disgusting, and it doesn't matter what you wear. You're always as disgusting as possible, and that's just a you problem. If I'm being honest with you, I'm sorry. I don't care. I'm sorry.
Put any effort unless I'm like doing a video, performing, doing something, and even my music stuff has now shifted towards my more he/him side of me that I feel way more comfortable performing in.
Of course, I knew that she was gonna bring up the trans bullshit. Trans isn't bullshit; it's just bullshit on her.
And then if I do the she/her, it's to perform. It's to perform or perpetuate this character that I don't think I'm really happy being.
You notice that, like, when she's in her comfort zone, it's just when she's not overly sexualized. It's not when she's dressing like a man. It's just when she's not overly sexualized. Like, that's what I'm talking about. She doesn't have gender dysphoria or any type of trans issue. She has an over-sexualization issue. If anything, Trisha is a walking billboard against doing, like, pornography.
Anymore.
Like, you could be a little more masculine as a woman, and it's totally fine. But she just doesn't like being looking like a whore all the time, and it gives her, like, frustrations and some kind of dysphoria, maybe, whatever word you want to use for it. Distress.
So I don't like. And it's also not it's not, I'm in partnership with somebody, right?
Moses?
And
what are you doing, like a deal? Like, what did that mean?
This person has worked so hard, and
Is someone makeup?
They put a lot into it. They put, that this is their creation and stuff.
The
And
makeup.
I worked with them and tried out stuff that works really well and stuff like that, but I didn't want it to be like sexualized, and like it was not my intention to put that in there. A lot of people were like, oh, that was on purpose, but I mean,
it's just ranting.
To my knowledge, it wasn't on purpose. And then up on that episode as well, a lot of people were like, okay, Trisha was triggered by Gabby, and not yes and no, but it was.
What triggered by what? Gabby? Like, listen, Gabby Hanna's crazy, but honestly, maybe Gabby was right about Trisha. I mean, like, do we not see like what Trisha is? I mean, I'm not a Gabby fan, but like Gabby probably is not as crazy as we think, and Trisha, given the platform that she had on Frenemies remember, this was her like campaign to like, redeem her. That was her redemption arc. People trusted her more than she deserved because of Ethan had turned her into like an actual person that wasn't just valued on her pure stupidity, and like over sexualization of herself. And so like she was able to utilize that, that authority, that moral weight that was handed to her to go after Gabby Hanna. Now, I don't know if Gabby's innocent of whatever they were talking about or guilty, because like I try not to get too far into like the crazy nonsensical drama. But I'm just thinking that if you're somebody that's out there, maybe Trisha was wrong, and maybe Gabby is right about some stuff. What stuff? I don't fucking know, because I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Really, when he really was like, well, do you have herpes? And I've always said from the beginning that if I did have herpes, that was between me and my boyfriend at the time. Like, if I had AIDS, it's between me and my partner, and us two know.
Well, now I'm curious. Do you have AIDS and herpes? Because now those are the words I would say if I had AIDS and herpes and I didn't want people to know.
So it had nothing to even do with that. So when he was asking those personal questions, like, you know, everyone wants to say, oh, he's so professional and he's so patient with Trish, but it's like at the same time, like
Yeah.
being asked those questions by a partner, or now he's my employer. So many people think they know the contract when there wasn't even a contract.
Do you like that? Now it's my employer. I thought we were partners. Also, like, I don't know what the fuck they were talking about with Gabby, but I'm sure Trisha was defending herself on the platform again without any contestment. He was just asking follow-up questions that weren't a big deal. Like, if Gabby lied about her having herpes or whatever, which seems to sound like what it is, if she was mentally crushed by being asked, like, hey, did you actually have herpes? Then, like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you're not struggling in life enough. That's just a simple, nah, I didn't. Or yes, whatever.
Contract in place, but now
Do
he's
either
my
one of
employer
those
and he's asking
things.
me these questions. But even as a partner, as a friend, as family, like it was like, you know, and then I was like, I'm trying to think, like, you know, I'm like racking my brain of what people could, you know, bring up. Like, did I ever have cold sores on my lips in videos? I don't think I've had cold sores since I was a kid. Someone will probably find a video that says that.
That is suggestive. I'm sorry, Trisha, if it's true.
I never took medication for it, and everyone's like, well, you did have herpes. And it's like, regardless, like, I know my STD health, and he's joked about that too, saying that I've had gonorrhea, because I've seen memes that's like, actually, it wasn't gonorrhea, it was chlamydia, which is true, you know, but...
Oh, right, she's very open about her chlamydia, isn't she? Because she didn't get it treated fast enough, and that's why she's infertile. I'm pretty sure she said those things before, openly and jokingly. I'm sure there's a level of joking about it because there's some kind of trauma associated with it, for sure. It's horrible when a woman can't have a kid. Like, it makes them feel like less of a woman. And by the way, if you're a woman who can't have kids, you're not less of a woman. But like she was comfortable with that. Also, I don't mean to be rude. I'm just sitting here watching this. This door is too small for her to fit through, right? Like, am I the only one that's that fucking crazy?
It's like, to me, that was banter, and it was accepted because that was our thing. We're just as open. So for him to say Trisha can say whatever and I can't say anything is insane. Like, those are really, really personal questions and something that I wasn't comfortable with. And for me, it's talking about this stuff now, you know? It's like, it's over, and I feel the sense of relief.
Listen, I'm also fat. Like, I'm not saying that I could fucking get through it. I was just saying, you guys are sorry.
It's horrible to keep seeing, if you go on my Instagram right now, say sorry to Ethan, say sorry to Ethan. It's like, I'm not sorry.
I really I don't know if she just doesn't understand the depth of how horrible of a person she is. She's removing all nuance, either because she doesn't understand nuance, which is very possible, or she's intentionally manipulative. And we're at a point now where we get to speculate. And I really think it probably is a mixture between the two. But I think that Trish is a really shitty person. And so I have no intent, like, I don't have any intention of giving her the benefit of the doubt. I think that it's a big part of it is that she's a shitty person, and I think that, like, at least some part of her, a very, like, heavy part of her, is more worried about saving face than actually doing the right thing, which is why she's ironically not saving face, which is why she's lashed out in the way that she had. They had an issue on Frenemies. She decided to walk away from the show as a way to say fuck you to Ethan and try to look like the victim. It didn't work, so she made a video like apologizing for the things that she thought people wanted to hear, but it wasn't good enough. Then Ethan responded, and then she's like, oh, fuck you, Ethan, you're a liar. You see, like, how she's just twisting, and she's just kind of she's throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks for her when it comes to her result of being redeemed. But this is it. We've already talked about it. The Frenemies was her redemption arc, and it's over. This is all that's left. She's done for, you know.
He shut down my ideas so many times.
Who cares? Your ideas are doo-doo diarrhea garbage. Like, we have to acknowledge that. Could you imagine, like, think about it if it was your kid. Imagine your kid was like, you know, you're a mother or you're a father to your kid, and your kid was like, my mom and dad, they never listen to my ideas. And, like, the last idea your kid had was to, like, you know, use your shit and freeze it so that you could use it as an ice pack. It's like, yeah, I didn't like that idea. I thought it was a little unsanitary. Like, no fucking kidding, you know? Like, you don't, just because you have ideas doesn't mean that they're good ideas. This idea that everybody has some good ideas, not true. Trisha is a walking bad idea.
For so many things, like Fashion Nova, you know, not sponsored, but we were talking about it one episode, and he was just like, I'm against this and fashion. For me, like,
okay,
I've always liked Fashion Nova.
Hey, let's go skydiving.
because like it was affordable. It was stuff I could afford, and it was also in my size. And he was just so aggressive about that. And I think at the time, like, I don't know, I don't think I had a sponsorship with them, but it's like, you know, just like shooting down like the aerial gymnastics, which he compared to in his video, is like, oh, sure, I want to go to the moon, but it's not. It's like, so, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I think there's a higher chance of me going to the moon than there is doing aerial gymnastics. Are you going to do the gymnastics? Like, but like, what's the context of this? Are you going to watch it on TV? Or were you going to do gym? Could you imagine? There's no way that 2 30-year-old overweight people, that's not a criticism because I'm overweight, are going to do fucking aerial gymnastics. Like, you need to have, like, your entire life of training. You're going to die. It's like, I have a really good idea. What if we killed ourselves? Oh, my God, Trisha, great idea. I'll go get the knife. Like, what the fuck? Like, you have horrible dog shit ideas. Sorry to anybody who got offended with the kill yourself thing. I didn't mean to be.
like it was constant. Oh, this anti-anxiety notebook thing, which I have so many of these workbooks that I work through.
Okay.
And I was like, we should create one because, you know, he talks about his anxiety and depression, and I talk about my borderline and my schizo.
Right.
Yeah, and I was like, we should write one and shot that down. You know, so
yeah,
I'm
the
not
BPD
sorry.
probably might be a real diagnosis. Also, why does he have to? Why? Hey, do you want to make a very like intrusive book about like your anxiety? No, I would rather deal with my anxiety by myself with my loved ones and not like wear my heart on my sleeve. Most people are that way. So for him to shoot down like something that would be to him probably an invasion of his like mental health and his privacy, like, yo, wow, what a horrible person. Like, you know, you deal with your trauma in your own way, but
I'm not sorry. Like that I said your segment sucked. Like I should say, oh my God.
wait, but you said that you were sorry before. Remember, like you were sorry for shitting on the members. Oh, right, I forgot. What you actually said, it was okay for her to be shitty to the members as long as she was nice to them sometimes. Hey guys, I know I said this really bad thing, but remember when I complimented you?
I got burp again. Sorry.
What did she eat?
I should say this too. It's like not to go back to that because that's not what this video is about because it's over. It's done.
This whole video
But
is
all
about
of
whatever
that,
you're about to say. Like, we already
you
know
know,
it.
like all of that was like triggers, right? When I asked to the very last episode, like, we need to stop. And he's like, yes, you can go up and leave whenever you want. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
up until even that point, he wanted me to do that thing. And I'm like, I just want to end this. And I don't want to look like the crazy one. I don't want to look like the emotional one.
The walking off doesn't make you look crazy. Let me give you an example. Let's say I was on H3 podcast, and Ethan, threw fucking dirty socks at me and called me like the F slur or something, and said I was a big fat piece of shit and I should go and like jump into a hole, and I got up and I walked out. Nobody would think I was crazy because the walking out by itself means literally nothing. It is just it's a reaction you're having. What made you walk out is what would make you look crazy. So he could have just randomly cut that segment early and you still would have looked fucking insane. But like, you are making yourself look crazy and then you're worried about like one simple action. To me, that's very telling. That really shows that she doesn't understand what she's doing is wrong. And not all. And she has no interest in trying to educate herself on it. It's just like the aspects that are attached to making her look wrong are what she's most frustrated about, if that makes any sense. She's not really worried about like looking crazy or looking like the bad person, or rather she's not worried about being the bad person. She's just worried about looking like the bad person. And so she wants to mitigate what makes her look bad because she thinks that like those associations with looking bad, like walking off set, she thinks that those are the things people are focusing on. They're not. Those are just like the memes that are getting pushed out. What people are focusing on are the terrible things that she did.
That can't handle herself, that can't control herself, and just walks off. Like, I want to end this. And he was like, no, I think.
And walking away from an adult perspective, which I would say that they probably have a decent amount of adults watching, is not seen as like a cowardice move. It's actually like seen as like a pretty respectable move to be like, you know what, I'm going to disconnect myself from here. So nobody was ever going to just look at the walking away on face value and being like, oh my God, what a shitty person. You understand what I'm saying?
I asked to end this like 3 times before we ended at whatever, and I walked off and they continued rolling.
Yeah, for 3 seconds.
You know, a lot of that stuff it did come out of like being triggered. Like at the end of the day, it was like
Triggered, bro.
There's so much more like I want to say now that I can like calmly think and stuff, but I just had to say this because it's not so black and white. People are just like, apologize. I can't believe you. I see you in a different light. And it's like, I'm not saying like this deletes things I said or this is worse than things.
Well, you are
I
saying
still
that, yeah.
take accountability.
No, you
but
don't.
I'm not.
You don't know what that word means.
I'm not okay with just people just glazing over like really serious issues. And mostly I'm not okay with me glazing over these really serious
Well,
issues.
you're the
I'm
one
not okay
creating them.
that I didn't stand up for myself more when I should have. You know?
Now she's trying to play like that card where she's like, I know I'm the victim, but like I will take some responsibility for myself. This way that you'll have the reaction of like, don't victim blame yourself, Trisha. You're in the right. This is like the manipulative game that she's playing.
These are all things that were pretty recent, you know.
Remember, she said that Ethan made that green-haired girl really uncomfortable, and she kind of she nodded at that girl being alone and potentially getting sexually assaulted by Ethan because of the scenario. That's the type of rhetoric she's using. So let's like, keep that in mind when we move forward, as the way that like what her perception is and all the problems she's having. That was one of her problems. It's crazy because I cannot imagine how many young men and women who have been in situations where they were violated or sexually assaulted, and like this is what she thinks of your trauma, as she thinks that it's a performance piece, and that kind of shit like really bothers me. I don't use the word triggered, but like that does trigger me. It makes me very angry. It makes me a very angry person because like that's really fucked up, and we have too much online internet performative like personalities use sexual assault like as a fucking battering ram. And it provokes a lot of people who have trauma very, very seriously because they're like, yeah, this I can identify with this. But then when you take a step back and you look at what they're doing, you realize that they're not, you know, standing with you. They're using you for outrage points. They're using your trauma for outrage points. These people don't care about you. They want to use you. They want to use your emotions. They want to re-invoke that spark of frustration and trauma in you just to trigger you more, so that you'll give them more views and you'll agree with them. She's invoking your sexual assault trauma because she's a worthless, shitty person, but she wants you to agree with her. And that's just really despicable.
And I think which ultimately led to maybe some sort of sabotage of the show. I watched back that clip and I really am just like, okay, I shot down a segment so that I'm being rude and want to fire employees. Like I watched that episode.
You went in more
where I'm
detail
like,
on
we
that.
should add another employee because they're busy. Like, you know, I just replay it. And I think, you know, it's really hard and something I have to let go. But it's like at the end of the day, like it's something that everyone is just like, Trisha's greedy, Trisha's this.
Yes.
She made fun of Ethan's Tourette's. And I laugh because I'm uncomfortable. It's not funny, but like Tourette's and like being Jewish and all this stuff. And now I'm anti-Semitic.
And you sexually harass them constantly, right?
It's just like, it's really...
We'll say work definition sexual harassment because, you know, work definition is different from like real life. I only want to say that because I don't want to minimize shit either.
And like,
but like that she was like, oh, I want to do OnlyFans. Like you saw that video. Like that would be considered like workplace sexual harassment to an extent. If we're gonna play her fucking game, which I guess I'm stooping down to her pathetic level. So you know, shame on me.
Blown out of proportion, and nobody wants to hear what I say because it's just manipulative or whatever. And it's like, and maybe I don't know. See, now I'm thinking like, I think I'm overthinking too much now. I'm thinking, well, is that manipulative? But that's just my observation. It's what I just am observing right now.
Would it make sense for Ethan to come out and defend himself? No. Ethan, like this at this point, it's like let it die. He said what he had to say, and so this is what happened. So Ethan had said honestly what he had to say, and Trisha's response is going to be to change the reality, literally gaslight. Change the reality around what's happened to invalidate his like frustrations. And this is what she's trying to do. We know what happened, but we watch it again. And if you feed into her perception on something that we know is false, but it's been like a week. So now do we really remember? And then we're all too lazy to go back and rewatch. Then all of a sudden it changed everything. So if he responds to the way that she promotes a particular idea, there's no positive impact on this. He doesn't have a positive. He's just feeding into the conspiracy that she's pushing.
is that like I can't win no matter what I say. But I really wanted to say this because while I'm not sorry for saying I don't like your segment, you know, and you know what, I am sorry for that. Whatever.
Does Trisha actually care? No,
like,
she just care that people don't like her right now.
But there is a double standard at play there, and that's what I'm really trying to say. There's a double standard, and it's just what it is, you know. I don't know. He has a calmer demeanor than me.
Well, you're fucking psychotic. So there's no doubles. I mean, the double standard in what capacity? Like, there are two sets of principles being like, put in on you guys. You're the one that's getting the benefit of the doubt more than anything else. Like, people aren't even like looking at you as like a really shitty person or as shitty as you should be. If Ethan did something like this, they would be dogging him a lot more than you. It's just expected from you because you're seen as kind of like a joke and a failure. And so like, yeah, there's a double standard. You have no credibility, so people aren't even giving you as much shit as they should. Like, if somebody else did this would have been like completely it. But Trisha's a psychopath, and like this is expected, and there's so low expectations that like she could continue making her stupid fucking eating videos and her really shitty music videos and like living her fucking rockstar delusion, and she'll still make enough money to live, you know, although she'll slowly fizzle out. So hopefully she saved up enough money and invested it or something, because this is probably getting close to her end of her life cycle.
She has a bigger fan base than me, whatever the case
or her
is.
internet life cycle.
Mad that like I'm choosing to end frenemies, but you know, at the end of the day, that's also a boundary I'm setting for myself. Is that I just don't want to go into a place where I already feel defeated, where I already feel uncomfortable, right? When he told me the crew is upset, you were super rude to them, like I couldn't even watch it back at that point because I was like, what did I say? I was so scared of what I said. And then when I saw it, I was like, I wasn't, and it got spun in this way.
You were. So like I was a manager at my company for like 5 or 6 years. My official title was a lead BAM, lead bus appearance maintainer, right? So I was a full-time employee, and I was like the boss of like a crew of different people. And my height, I think like 8 people. Of course, budget cuts, whatever. Anyway, my employees thought I was, or my subordinates, whatever you want to call them, they thought I was a great boss. But I had my moments where I fucked up. And in the moment, I thought I was completely justified. And I lost my temper and I was a dickhead. And then afterwards, we talk about it, and it's like, you know what? I overreacted. Now, did I have reasons to? Sure. There was a lot of pressures, especially when I was there during the coronavirus, to get things done. We had to get all the buses disinfected. I had a crew of 250 buses, and I had to do it every night. And like I had a night where the guys just like, they didn't do it. But there was a particular reason, because they had like, I had to reallocate them to do a different amount of work at a different time. And like, you know, but at the time I was like focused on what I needed to do. So I had to go out there with everybody. We had to stay right up until the clock. And it was like a whole stressful thing. But afterwards I was like, okay, I was wrong. I wasn't the worst person in the world, but like you can take accountability and be like, okay, you can walk away from it very easily if you're like, yeah, my bad. But she's just not doing that. Like, just because you didn't tell them to like take their own lives or something really horrible doesn't mean you weren't a bad person to them. And you invalidated their work. And you made them like, you just randomly on the show like rudely said like, oh, they're just shit. Like, we're gonna want, you guys will be able to see some of that stuff at the end when we play the compilation.
And then he told them that I wanted them fired, and he was telling me stuff that wasn't true about.
Oh, I just noticed that someone's like, hey Papa, she has Louis Vuitton bags behind her. Yeah, thank you for the ad placement. Hey guys, this video is demonetized, but also brought to you by Louis Vuitton and Small Doors.
Crew with their involvement and stuff, and I was just like,
right, I think that these like the Louis Vuitton bag always, and we can always see it, and then you have the yellow thing here. It's probably a bag, overpriced shit bag.
I don't know. I just really started.
Go buy a bag from Kmart. Will say I do like the lounge fly bags. I'm not a paid person, but lounge fly, very cute Disney bags. I just wanted to say that now that we're talking about it.
I literally just lost my train of thought right there.
Trisha, you are literally you encompass the term "lost my train of thought."
That they wanted, that I was rude. They didn't want to film with me, or whatever, or that they should take tomorrow off.
Yeah, God forbid.
Like that really did.
God forbid somebody's boss is attentive to like their frustrations and gives them like a day off and takes a financial loss to do it. Yeah, Trisha, you're right. Ethan is such a shitty scum fuck. You know, if any of like the crew members came out and made their own video, Trisha's like, that would be an execution sentence for Trisha, because they'd be like, yeah, she was shitty. But even they would probably be empathetic. Like, Ethan didn't go into her the way I would. I could be very, I mean, I think you guys have already seen I've gone into her quite a bit. But like, you know, she's getting like she's getting off easy.
Like, a gang up, right? Which I had been feeling for some
Guys, I only said that they were really shitty workers because they were ganging up on me. Why? Because they said they didn't want to do fucking aerial gymnastics and skydiving.
time. You know, I felt, you know, with the bus thing, it's something simple as like, oh, can I, you know, bring my mom and sister? They didn't, and they're like, well, we don't want anyone recognizable, but then people recognize everyone on the bus. Like, you know what I mean? Or even like bringing people off Instagram or something like that. I don't know. It just felt like I really, again, we're kind of going in circles with this. It's not the point. But then when I heard
All of
they
your
didn't wanna
videos do that.
film, that they were upset and they needed a few days, the crew, you know.
Isn't that funny?
It's then I felt
when she heard that they needed a few days because they were upset, her reaction was, well, you know what? I'm quitting because fuck them and I want to hurt them. And I want to make it feel like it's their fault for not doing a segment with me because I'm an entitled bitch.
I'm kind of, I don't want to put myself in that situation where I'm constantly feeling, you know,
Like you need to have accountability for yourself. Oh, yeah, guys, you like how she says she has accountability, but then in the moments where it matters, she doesn't. You can apologize to people. That's accountability. Everybody fucks up in the moment, but it's the moments of self-reflection where it becomes like more of a problem.
And then they ended up in going to do it anyways. A lot of people were like, oh, he agreed to give you a producer. And he did. We had talked and we were totally fine. He agreed to give me a producer. We agreed to do the rage room
And then you just left.
at like 6:30. And then once the episode went out,
He was gonna do the rage room with her so she could vent some frustrations. That's wow, what an asshole.
Ethan cares a lot about comments and what comments say, what that thread says, Reddit or whatever.
It seems like you do.
He goes with what the comments say, with what it. So I'm just assuming that the comments were like Trisha's. I don't know. I'm not sure, because then he texted me late and said, you know, hey, let's not do tomorrow, after saying let's do it, and I agreed.
Wait. So what happened was they were going to do the shoot or whatever, and then he decided not to do it. The real reason is because his workers were frustrated and he decided not to do it. And now she's trying to make it seem like he was just like victim to, he just like looks at all the comments and he just takes all the likes and views. That's all he cares about. Do you see this? Do you see how crazy she is? That's literally her. That's her. She's even said that she obsessively reads comments in like one of her last videos that we watched. Like, she's the one that does this shit. And now she's projecting onto Ethan to try to diminish him. And what's really ironic, though, is that she's acknowledging that, like, overly obsessing about comments is a bad thing. And then, like, pushing that narrative that Ethan does that. But if she does that, which, like, invalidates all of her videos, because I'm guaranteeing you these videos are about those comments. Like, she gets bad comments, and then she tries to get the public favor back by gaslighting the fuck out of everybody.
So let's not do tomorrow. Crew's upset. Ian's upset that you were rude about Sam's segment and you were rude to them and they just need a few days. So right then I was just like, oh, okay, like that's how this is, right? Like it's not, I don't get a say. And as far as the producer talent thing goes, just to touch on that again, like there's no contract. Everyone acts like there's a contract. This is what it is. This is what it is. It's just not black and white, which I'm trying to say about this whole thing. Nothing is black and white. You know, I don't know. I'm just like, it's just like...
We've heard this like 40 times already. You know, what the fuck am I doing here? What are we doing here? But we really need to be bored of Trisha. Keep watching the video, though, okay? It's for me.
It's just been a lot, and I'm just trying to tell you where I've been, like, my process of all this is, because it's a lot. And it's been a lot. Like, this stuff, like, the thing, like, really, it did start, the thing on the bus with my mom and my sexual assault and discussing it openly, and then also talking about it on Frenemies. You know, the Robin Williams and my prostitution days, when I said, I don't want to talk about it, just not being, not being respected in that. And up until the last one, just talking about my sexual health history openly, it just, I don't know, none of it felt right. Being sexualized, my skincare being sexualized, you know,
gotta be your own biggest fan, guys.
None of it felt right. And I admit to my wrongdoings, and I was triggered. And I'm telling you, this whole thing, it was completely blown out of proportion, but in a way.
Yes, Trisha. Yes. The only honest thing that you've said the whole fucking time. This has been blown out of proportion. You're right. You did it. Because you want to know what she thought was going to happen? What she thought was going to happen was she was going to go fucking ballistic and blow and over-exaggerate what was going on, and walk off the show and end everything, and Ethan was going to come on his fucking knees crying back, and then he decided to disconnect. And now that's like, oh, it's out of proportion. No, it's you went out of proportion, and Ethan is just not putting up with your fucking bullshit.
Way it is a relief that it was a relief that it's ending, because I did get triggered. I was okay to do the segment. I was
Shut up. Who cares?
triggered.
Nobody wanted to deal with you because you're a shitty person. Just because you're okay with it. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine, like, just fucking pushing someone on the floor and being like, you know, I'm okay to go out to dinner with you now? And they're like, yeah, I'm not feeling that. And you're like, wow, well, I was okay to do it, so it's your fault we're not going. Well, Trisha, you phenomenal fucking perspective. You're an idiot.
like talked over. I was triggered when he called me like talent, and he's the producer. And
Why? Like, you're not talented. Like, why is that triggering to you? Because he was like, he is your boss in this context. He's a very good boss to you, but he's kind of your boss. And I wouldn't even say you had a boss-like relationship, but he was like your boss. He was paying you far more than you're worth, and he called you talented. Like, you're so untalented. What the fuck did I just do? I think I restarted the video. You're so untalented. You really are. Like, you have no talent. There's nothing that you've ever done that people went, impressive. The most impressive thing you did was leave toilet paper in your fucking asshole, and then people wanted to look at that on your OnlyFans, so they paid money for it. That's not talent. That's disgusting. And you're sitting here, I'm so triggered that they called me talented. For what? What do you bring to the table? You're somebody to look at and mock. That's what you've created because you wanted to be famous at all costs. And again, Ethan made a whole fucking podcast about redeeming you and turning you into somebody that people perceived as a point of moral authority. And you spit in his face on that.
stuff like the thing, like really it did start, the thing on the bus with my mom and my sexual assault and discussing it openly.
I don't know
and
what
also
point we're
talking
at.
about it on frenemies.
I clicked the go button, so I don't know where
Robin
we're at.
Williams and my prostitution days when I said the thing on the bus with my mom. I'm just trying to tell you where
I just don't know where we're at. Sorry, guys.
I'm just like, it's just been a lot, and I'm just trying to tell you where I've been, like, my process of all Robin Williams and
It probably
prostitution
doesn't really
days,
matter.
and
I
said,
accidentally
want
hit a
help.
button.
Just not being respected in that. And up until the last one, just
People are like, Papa, why are you so angry? I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm not really angry. I'm just a very blunt person. Like, some of my stuff is like maybe a little bit like tone increased. I don't know. But like, I'm just like a blunt person. It's not that I'm like angry necessarily. It's that like I don't care to be sensitive to her because she doesn't deserve the sensitivity. So like, that's the position that I'm coming from.
about my sexual health history openly.
Like, I'm tired of people babying her because she has like mental issues. I know a lot of people with mental issues that struggle. I'm like, well, you want me to be sensitive to her? She's an asshole. She's a bad person.
It just, I don't know. None of it felt right. Being sexualized, my skincare being sexualized, none of it
It's just
felt
it's just droning
right.
on.
And I admit to my wrongdoings, and I was triggered. And I'm telling you, this whole thing, it was completely blown out of proportion. But in a way, it is a relief that it was.
Mm-hmm.
It
You
was a
blew it out of
relief
proportion.
that it's ending, because I did get triggered. I was okay to do the segment. I was
We got past
triggered
this
of
already.
being,
Okay,
like,
sorry,
talked
guys.
over. I was triggered when he called me like talent, and he's the producer.
Yeah. This is where we're at. Sorry, guys.
Then talking about the money thing and how it's changed and all that stuff like that. It's like,
Shut up. You got way too much money. Just enough. Just stop. Like, he didn't change the money. He always gave you too much. And now she's just like a gaslight. Like, there's nothing changed with the money. All right, she was getting 45% of the earnings from the videos, 50% of the sponsorship deals, and 50% of the membership from the H3 YouTube, which is 3 podcasts. She was getting 50% of money that isn't even for her fucking podcast. Like, what? It's for more than just her podcast. Like, what the fuck? And 50% of the profits from the merch. That's insane. A third, at best, is what she deserved from any of this shit. It's insane how much she's getting. Oh, but she didn't get the clips, guys. So, oh, God, what a terrible thing.
I never wanted more money. I never wanted the crew fired. The crew can't be fired because there's no contracts. Frenemies doesn't have employees. There's no contracts.
I love this. Oh, well, the crew doesn't have a contract, so how can they get fired? So, like, now, so you have to understand that what she just did there was she admitted that she wanted the crew fired. I need you to listen. I'm going to tell you why.
About the money thing and how it's changed and all that stuff like that. It's like, I never wanted more money. I never wanted the crew fired. The crew can't be fired because there's no contracts. Frenemies.
She's saying that she wanted them fired, but she's playing semantics. What she's saying is, I could never have wanted them fired because definitionally, they were never employees. They didn't have contracts, so they can't get fired. Do you see what she's doing? She did want them fired based on all of our understandings of the word fired. Just because they didn't have a formal contract doesn't mean they didn't have some kind of a verbal contract. What she's saying is that she can't have wanted them to be fired. Based on what she's saying is like, oh, I didn't want them fired. I just didn't want them to have continued employment. That's kind of shit that like a scum fuck worthless boss would say to you. I'm not firing you. I'm just not continuing your employment. Do you see these words that she's using and the way she's using them? This is her admitting she wanted them to lose their jobs. That's her words, not me. That's her fucking words. They can't. Well, I didn't want them fired. They just can't get fired because they don't have a contract. Which is dumb as fuck because they obviously had a contract. Even if it wasn't signed, they're still verbal contracts. And Ethan has a problem with making like hardline contracts. So I wouldn't doubt that they didn't have a set one. He probably just trusted them to take the pay and work whatever hours because they're good people. Now, Ethan, start making written contracts. But you see what this is fucking crazy. This is the manipulation of Trisha.
Frenemies doesn't have employees. There's no contracts. They were H3 employees. Ethan told me that money from Frenemies would go in addition to what they were already getting. Then, as they should. I hope they did. I don't know.
What are you talking about? Like, yes, he paid them already for his other podcasts, and he asked to do a 45-55 split so he could pay his crew more money for doing more work. Could you imagine if we lived in a world where you got more money when you did more work? I couldn't. Doesn't make any sense to me. Clearly, me and Trisha are on the same page because she's bitching about how Ethan wanted more money to give them more money for working. Could you imagine that? Could you fucking imagine that? Like, this is so weird because her original perspective was like, yeah, he pays for the crew with the other podcasts. So, like, who cares if they get paid with this podcast? Give me more money.
They got paid extra. I hope they got paid extra for Frenemies. I hope they know now that was what he told me at the beginning was the 100% of highlights and the 5% go like in addition for their extra hard work on Frenemies. So they couldn't be fired. Ethan's their employer. Frenemies has contracts with nobody. I don't have contracts. There's no contracts, so it's
You did have a contract. So you're a fucking moron. You have a contract. The text message is a contract. It is a verbal agreement to a thing. I don't understand what you think a contract is. I don't understand. Like, if I walk up to somebody, I'm like, hey, I'll give you this orange for $1. That's a contract. I made a contract with that. I made a contractual agreement to give them an orange if they give me $1. And after I give them the orange, they have purchased it. And I no longer have any control over that orange. It's a contract, okay? It doesn't have to be a fucking 15-page written contract in order for it to be considered a contract.
At the end of the day, everyone's like, Trisha's unprofessional. Maybe that's the case. But
you are very unprofessional, and you're a bad person. So.
And I know people are like, stop talking about it, whatever, and he's over it. But it's like, this is something that's, it is going to affect, it does affect me.
Good. I hope it hurt. I hope it affects you very negatively. That's what I'll say.
A piece on it.
Very truly hope that.
I did all those videos, like reaction videos, and I maybe shouldn't have filmed my instant reaction because I can't collect myself.
Well, just so you know, this is your post drama reaction. It's worse. This is worse because at least when you were in your fucking hysterical, obnoxious, childish state, you were super emotional. I can give you the credit there, benefit of the doubt. But now you're being as methodical as possible, and it's worse. It's even worse because it's the same spewing of garbage, and now you're just using different verbiage. Like, you're trying to manipulate people to thinking that, like, you're with the whole employment thing we just went over, the whole contractual thing, your perspective on the contract. Like, this is worse. You're a terrible person. Like, this is horrible.
And say my points properly because there was just so much full.
Let's keep it in perspective. I don't say my points properly. You guys know what I'm saying because I'm explaining myself well, but it's not proper. It's fucking harsh. It's brutal. And it's blunt. It's not proper. You could even say I'm being unprofessional, and that's fair. I work for myself, though, so fuck you. It's not that she's saying them or communicating them, like, not 100%. Like, it's just that they're bad points and that they're very shallow and easy to, destroy because they're terrible.
False information and against me, and I just thought it was really unfair because I'm not spreading like lies about Ethan, and I'm not trying to paint him as this villain. Like, there's clips I can dig up from his old things talking about sexual assault very casually and all this stuff. Like, I could, but okay. The way he brought
What do you? What I don't know what that means. Like that's such a broad stroke perspective. Like what was he talking about? Was he talking about like how funny it was for somebody to get sexually assaulted? I doubt it. Or was he talking about it in a way that could have been more sensitive? And maybe I do that as well, man. But you're literally diminishing sexual assault by weaponizing it in this video. So like maybe we don't give a fuck about your perspective about how casually or not he was, you know, utilizing or talking about sexual assault.
Brought up my past with, you know, saying bad words towards his family or whatever. I have to go. My family's getting here, but
so go. Like, why did you like pretend to turn the camera off?
That's how it ended and how he wanted to paint me because.
Oh my god.
And how one-sided it was.
She made like 4 hours worth of videos. He made one podcast about it, like 45 minutes. And like do we not understand? If he can communicate his perspective effectively in the 45 minutes and you can't in 4 hours, then it's a you problem.
And things he left.
Like, just so you know, Trisha, we watched the show. Like, we know who you are. You can't walk back from the way you painted yourself.
About mistruths and stuff like that. It just really sucks. And it's okay. You know, it is, like I said, I'm working through it, but I've never been one to like stop telling people how I feel and stop talking about something that is important to me. And I think this is the first step.
So boring.
And whatever show I go on in the future, if I do a podcast interview, if I do a collab video, if I do whatever, to not let people just
what?
And also to not let myself just talk
what
about
the fuck are you talking about? Are you like, hey guys, I'm open to going on this is what this is. Hey guys, I'm open to talking about this on your podcast, so just invite me on. She's inviting people to give her a platform to talk more shit about Ethan. Do you see how she's not letting this go? That's what she literally, hey guys, if I ever talk this on a podcast in the future, I'm open to it. That's what she's doing. She's signaling people that she wants their attention and she wants to use their platforms to shit all over Ethan.
actual
And hopefully it just makes her look even dumber.
assault so casually, or, you know, because it's not a casual thing. It's something that affected me whether I understand it or not right now, because I can't go back to that right now. Like, it's something that I need to work through, and I also can't let anyone have that like power, because it's not funny, it's not jokes. This is a different era in 2021. Like, it's just not okay to let other people talk about it, or
What the fuck are you talking about?
or like or have, you know,
Like, are you trying to hit a word count? Like, are you writing a fucking college paper? Like, why are you still talking? This is over. There's fucking 2 more minutes of this. Jesus
and I don't think this
Christ.
should be considered walking on eggshells to not talk about that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Trisha, just so you know, I would never walk on eggshells talking to you. I know the eggshells are there, so it would be walking on them. But like when you say walking on eggshells, people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna walk around them so I don't break." I would destroy the eggshells. I hope we never talk, because I don't want to be responsible for you. Like, I don't want to be responsible for telling you the truth and it causing you to do something that you shouldn't do to yourself. And that's does not mean, but like people, I don't really believe in, like, she's such a bad person, bro. I hope she never watches these videos, because she's such a shitty, fragile, bad person. And I really don't want to be responsible for her doing something bad. But, you know, you're a fucking child.
Or walking on eggshells when someone asks you to stop talking about something. The Robin Williams thing really was just like, I don't want to talk about it. And
What are we talking about fucking Robin Williams, dude?
I don't know.
You met Robin Williams once, and now all of a sudden, like, it's the most traumatic part of your fucking life.
It's a huge double standard. It's something that it's like, I just...
What double standard? What are you talking about? What the fuck is
I'm probably
happening?
Screaming into the abyss where it will get misconstrued or whatever.
No,
but if someone
you're
does
just
hear
dumb.
me and I, you know, it helps in some way. Like, I don't know. For me,
Hey guys, I know I'm spewing nonsense, but maybe you'll identify with the absolute nonsensical bullshit, and you'll like me more. Leave a like.
it's helping me. I don't know. I see people that can kind of understand, but I would say I wish it all didn't happen, because the way it went down and the way it got twisted, like, that sucks. But
I wish it all didn't happen because you aren't agreeing with what my perspective on the situation is. That's what she's actually saying. You're an idiot.
I do feel a sense of relief, and I do feel really sad that people are upset the show is ending.
Shut the fuck up.
And
It was like 2 days ago where she was teasing a comeback to frenemies. You guys see how she flips so much?
I just wanted to say this because it was something that was weighing on me. Oh, God.
This could have been like 10 minutes. And we would all have been happier
said
for
it
it.
to him, but it's also something that I need to say out loud to myself, to the world. But like I won't continue to make light of some really serious issues. So I'm gonna go. My family's downstairs, and I will talk to you guys soon.
Shut the fuck up. Thank God. That was obnoxious. That was horrible. That was horrible, dude. That was fucking terrible. Oh, please, never make me do that again, guys. Oh my God. All right, so hopefully that's it. Hopefully we're done with the Trisha shit. This has been like an exhausting thing. I'm tired of this. She makes me angry. I'm tired of dealing with her shit. We've labeled that video the end of Trisha Paytas. Final thoughts from a dying star, Trisha Paytas. Subscribe to Trisha. Good idea. That's what I should do. How do I do this? How do I subscribe to this person? There we go. I subscribed to her.
She's such a fucking bitch.
Oh,
And you are too. And you're a
I hated this. This made me so angry. This is
fucking cuck.
Hila
With her
asked
life.
not to be included, and I'm
Okay.
respecting her request.
All the time,
It's-
but her don't fucking mention her name. Dumb fucking bitch.
Okay.
Your life is sad and pathetic, and mine is happy, thriving. So good
Mine
luck.
is not
Have
sad.
fun on
How-
your beach weekend, eating room service, trying to get pregnant. Have fun with that. Okay, let's go
I
to
just
your
wanna
stupid.
make sure that everyone
I don't
got
like this
pizza.
segment. Just for the record, fan advice is a stupid segment. But we
Why?
can do it. It's so dumb. What's the point? And Moses doesn't like you, and you guys don't like him, and that's cool. I'm
See, that's
happy to
that you can't. That's stupid.
But it's true. It's
you're doing, what you're doing is you're causing
no.
problems in their family on him.
You want me to weaponize you? Because I have things I could actually weaponize you
this
with,
is
and
what
I
I'm talking
don't.
about.
No, but I don't do it.
I shouldn't have to walk on eggshells around everything I
Okay.
say.
All right, Ethan.
We-
Well, you look unhappy in life, so I really hope you feel
No.
better. I know it came from a place that you're
Wait, I
actually
want
miserable.
to. I know.
So.
yeah. You kind of, you know, there's like that's a 4-parter.
Good luck on the baby making. I'm angry.
Sad or something. You're not upset.
not.
Okay. All right.
But it is like frustrating when you think you do all this work and like think, oh, we're doing all this great stuff, and it's like, it's not that great sometimes. I don't
Wow. This brings a lot of context to this situation. Holy shit.
care if
I'm
Moses
not.
breaks up with me over this. Bye.
Why would Moses break up over a podcast?
Because I don't like his family. And I don't like hanging out with you guys, and you guys are awful, and that's it. But
I don't
okay,
remember,
to say
but that's not
gaslighting
what
is
it
telling someone how they feel, and you're telling me how I feel, and I'm telling you I don't feel frustrated or upset. It is like frustrating. So I don't know what else that could be.
It is frustrating.
I'm not upset, and that's
Okay.
yeah, you were into
Acts
pills.
like she's still high school and I'm in high school.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, if you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free Prime still every month. Exclamation point Prime in the chat allows you to utilize the Sub Papa Gut.
You never talk about
This makes it
that
worse.
you were a pill addict for a minute.
What?
Yeah, you said that. You said you were really into pills, and you don't talk about
It sounded
that.
like Trish. It sounded like Hila said something after that was said.
Why do I need to talk about that?
Because that's being open. Literally, I don't want to come back because I really fucking hate her.
And how?
I wasn't. Oh, I can tell, and it's sadness. And I see you when I was around your family that you have sadness in you, and it's sad.
Okay.
I don't even watch your thing, but I'm just saying, like all the guests you get, they're not. Bill Burr's not coming on. Bo Burnham's not coming on. Crystallia's not coming on. You know what I'm saying? You're getting people that no one knows.
Just
Annabelle.
subscribed.
Just all this
She
shit.
just
And
doesn't
Thank you so
want
much for the sub, my man.
She's
She's
too
not
good.
too good.
Don't fucking mention my name.
It's not about you. It's between Hila and her brother.
It is because I hate people
Papa_Pete
just like that are you.
just
You're
resubscribed.
Hey, thank you so much for the
the
resub.
person I
Love
hate
you,
in this
Papa
world.
Smooch.
She has a
No, but
podcast on this fucking
you guys
channel.
are family. It's different.
No, fuck
You're-
off.
you're-
Fuck her. I'm
you're
honestly
with
done.
her
Like,
brother.
I won't come back.
Can we move past this?
When I have a kid, I'm not gonna have
Hopefully
nannies,
we
that's
don't
pretty
see a
unsure.
pee-pee on stream today.
Yeah, hopefully.
What does that mean? You're trying to attack our parental abilities?
I'm not
What?
upset, and that's
Okay.
Yeah, that shit's fucked up, man. You know, I'm a little bit more of a traditional guy, and one of the things that you never really fuck with is someone's kids and someone's wife. Or someone's partner, but, you know, I'm a little traditional. And, like, that's one of the things that kind of blew my mind, is that Trisha went after basically went after his kid, his wife, and he didn't cut it there. And that's, like, honestly, for me, I enjoy Ethan, but that made me lose a lot of respect. Because that's a big deal to me, man. Like, those are the most important things in your life are like your family. And you know, Ethan doesn't deserve any of this abuse is really what it is. But you know, you got to put your foot down, man. You got to set solid boundaries. You got to you know, you got to man up, or even woman up. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like you. I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised Hila let it continue, because she seems like a very strong woman. You know, she seems like the pants wearer, which is fine. Nothing wrong with being the pants wearer, woman being more in control. It's totally fine. But I'm surprised she let it go on.
You're with her brother.
I won't come back.
Can we move past this?
When I have a kid, I'm not gonna have nannies. That's for damn sure.
What does that mean?
And like, it's really shitty because like her mom records her and her sister doing OnlyFans together. You know, it's gross.
You're trying to attack our parental abilities?
Let's just move on.
You know, when I was younger, my mom was a single mom. You know, she worked like 50 or 60 hours a week, and I didn't have nannies, but my family took care of me all the time. There's nothing wrong with having someone else, you know, help with your kid. The two of them work. You got a nanny. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Everybody has nanny. They work. People work.
You can take care of kids and work. I never had a nanny.
Okay.
Trying to be.
But my life is.
You can, but if you have the money, why the fuck not? Like, it's also good for the economy, not to get all, you know, woke or whatever, but like, it's also good, you know, have a nanny. You get a nice nanny, you know, and they get them to help take care of your kid. You know, what's the fuck's wrong with that, man? You get that's good for your kid. It's good for your kid to have some good attention, you know.
Life isn't about views.
It literally is about views. How many
Christina
views did you get?
P?
No idea. How many views? And you unboxed stuff, no one even cared. Didn't even get 1 million views. So wow, big guess.
Didn't work out.
I can see why you've been with the same person for 12 years.
Thank you.
You have no other options, and quite frankly, I don't blame you.
That's really fucked up, especially since like Trisha is in love with Ethan. Like, I'm telling you right now, we're just gonna talk about it. She's in love with him. She's I would say sexually harasses him constantly. And I'm probably gonna put this at the end of the YouTube video that we're gonna go through. So it's like really fucked up.
I have no. Yeah, I agree. That part was.
That's crazy.
Sometimes I forget what I've talked about, honestly.
But you're saying you have all this crew that does all this work for you, and nobody could remember that you talked about that 2 days prior? I actually don't really care that much for you.
Really? You never liked me?
Nope.
I
Thanks,
can't.
Bev.
Yeah, I apologize.
I don't apologize for anything I said about you.
I think it's a good thing to be with somebody for 12 years. It's a good thing. Ethan's also like has a lot of money. You know, when you're ugly like me and Ethan, you can very easily get girls once you become like in a more celebrity status. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even like a big deal. You know, I have like 2.5 million on TikTok, but like, I'm not a big deal, and like I get DMs all the time. Less now that I've announced my relationships, but you know, it's you know what I mean? It's just weird. She's just trying to attack his character.
That's okay.
And I'll say it again.
You're with her brother.
That's a good point. The Mama Gut says, I think it says a lot about her. If she had the privilege of her mother always taking care of her. My dad worked days and my mom worked nights, and the Grammy took us. Yeah. My mom worked constantly. My mom worked like a lot. She worked, 50, 60 hour weeks. And family would help take care of me. Friends of the family would help take care of me. And every time my mom had off, she would do something. That's the reason why I'm an Eagle Scout. Because my mom had 2 days off a week, and she would always make sure to push me through the Boy Scouts. Hey everyone, if you liked that video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow my Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, and TikTok. All links are in the description. Also, check out my Patreon if you'd like to support me even more than you already do. Thank you so much, everyone. I love you all.